What's good, y'all? Elvis here, back in with another video. I've been on and off with my consistency because I'm at a point where I don't care. I will do this when I feel like on some real shit. Like, I love YouTube. I just hit 1,000 subscribers. That's dope. But as far as the greater satisfaction of my life goes, I could take or leave this. God works through infinite avenues in my life. I was speaking of God. I had something on my heart, and it's on theme with the holiday. The biggest problem in the world, bigger than homelessness, big homelessness. I'm saying big homelessness instead of fatherlessness because it has a better ring to it. But then also, being a father is important. And I think that fatherlessness is a spiritual issue. It doesn't take much to be able to biologically father a child, but to parent somebody is completely different. And I'm a person that grew up in a single parent household. Well, debatably single. I raised myself most of the time. I did the vast majority of the raising myself. It's showing me that our parents are just the vessels we come through, but ultimately God parents us all. In whatever avenue that is. That could be through your coach, it could be through a mentor, it could be through your spiritual leader. But fatherlessness isn't a lack of having some kind of resource. Provision isn't just providing resources. Provision is providing vision. You know what I'm saying? Being able to lead effectively. And that's not just ripping and running and saying, hey, do this and this and that because I'm in charge. It's taking full accountability and responsibility for everything that happens. Everything that goes well on this ship, I will get the credit for. But everything that goes wrong, I will get the credit for. And in worst case scenario, I will go down with the shit that is my responsibility. That's a man's responsibility. If you're the kind of person you want to be in charge, but you don't want to take responsibility for when shit goes left, you're not really a man to me. You might be a biological male. You might be kind of masculine, but you're not a man to me. So I'm 26, 27 this year. And I'm kind of just realizing that for the first time in my life, I'm really around masculine role models that I really aspire to be like. Growing up, there was always somebody who like, okay, well, I want to get some money like them, but I don't like how they move in every aspect of their life. I wish I had the options that so-and-so had. I wish I had the confidence that so-and-so had. But there was always some real big, what I felt like detriment in another area of their life. Like, I used to have a bunch of big homies who, let's say, got a lot of money, got some women, but had no spiritual integrity or discernment about how they wanted to live their life or what they wanted to get themselves involved in. Like, niggas were just reacting to life a lot. And keep in mind, they were still doing way above average compared to the people I was around, but they still lacked their own masculine leadership within themselves. When it came to things that, let's say, charged them up emotionally, there was no delayed gratification. There was no taking a step back, thinking from the highest version of yourself, what am I actually trying to get out of this interaction? You know what I'm saying? It's like if they see a bad chick, they jump on her. And then they deal with all the things that come up with that because they didn't plan, they did no planning whatsoever about how you are actually trying to build something with this girl or what you're trying to pursue outside of hunching. You feel me? You know, there was people that weren't being frivolous with their energy, sexual or otherwise. But those men weren't people that I could look at and want anything they have, you know what I'm saying? Or they didn't even have skills that I wanted to learn from them. And I'm realizing a lot of that isn't necessarily like, it wasn't practical to me. It's just how you do something is more important than what you're doing. And that's something I've realized in all these different crafts that I've been a part of. And I've had different mentors in different seasons. And I've realized that every mentor that I have can only teach me up to where they are or their level of understanding. And that's finite compared to God's understanding for me. I already know when I start to lean on my own understanding, I'm starting to fuck up, you know what I'm saying? But now think about it, it's even worse to lean on the understanding of somebody outside of you. Especially when God's understanding is an umbrella over us all. We all get a little piece of what God sees for us. It's kind of presumptuous to think that somebody knows better than you about you, but it's even more presumptuous to think that they know better about you than God. It took a very intentional 26 years, but now I find myself around a big group of divine masculine presence. Men that I want to do everything in my power not to disappoint because they have a certain level of standard for themselves. They also hold themselves accountable to God's standard for us because that's not something anybody can enforce other than God and yourself. And I'm realizing what I consider a man isn't a biological male that can do male things. It's a spiritual thing. And like a man who has a child or has feminine presence within their environment that doesn't want to protect and nurture that, that's not divine masculine presence. I think the idea that people have for masculine and feminine energy is kind of incomplete. Like let's say a dude lacking his masculinity, like myself, raised in an environment full of women, very quick to be like, okay, well, this passive aggressive shit not working for me. Let me ramp up my assertiveness and blah, 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 blah. And they think they have to overcorrect in the sense of be disagreeable, be hostile, and da da da. But it's like you can get your point across in a language that other people can understand and people can respect and feel respected. You know what I'm saying? Having a boundary and saying, "Hey, don't go over there," it gets loud. It gets crazy when you get past here. You could communicate that in the way I just said, or you could be the kind of person like how I used to be. I used to feel empowered with my anger. So I only felt like I could really assert my boundaries when I was angry. So whenever I did assert my boundaries, it was very 0 to 100. Like, okay, no, it's okay, it's okay. I'm like, no, how many times I have to tell you never think about this? You know what I'm saying? Like the flip switches really quickly because I didn't have no boundaries, and I had to overcompensate every time just to get people to stop at the boundary. I had to tell people, oh, the boundary is way over here. Don't you dare ever get close to there. And then once they got there, I always knew there's nothing in me that was going to stop them from taking what I want from me as a protection mechanism. Not on some struggle Olympic shit. Because everybody got their cross to bear. But being a man fucking tough. Nobody give a fuck about how you feel about anything. But they also expect you to care about everybody else shit. And then if you in any environment with women and children and some shit go down, they looking at you. But you can't have any expectation on anybody else in a situation to handle it more than you do. Being a man is humbling because while I am like, let's say, societally and socially empowered to like, hey, take charge and handle shit, like, it's humbling because, let's say, like, the smarter you become, the more you realize you don't know shit. The stronger you become, the more aware you are of your weakness. You know what I mean? And we're trying to measure up to the standard that God set for us. We have fallen short since creation started, you feel me? But ultimately, I think all the change starts with us. I can't really be around any man who's like locus of control is not within himself. That if you think that the president got more power than you, if you think that any nigga you have not met or you have not shaken their hand or you do not directly interact with has more power in your life than you do, somebody can make some decisions that hem you up on a societal level, but they don't take away your mind, they don't take away your energy, they don't take away your attention. You know what I'm saying? That's something you have to willingly give up. Peace is not something that can be taken from you. It has to be forfeited. As a man, if someone comes to your crib and says, oh, no, all this shit mine now, the masculine spirit in you is not having that shit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do whatever you can within your means to protect your boundary, protect your environment. And I realized the only men I really be having issues with are the men that don't feel confident in their ability to defend that boundary. It's like these sassy ass niggas that catch an attitude and want to fight niggas over what they assumed somebody meant. You know what I'm saying? Niggas overhear a conversation and be mad because they think you talking about them. Nigga, if I'm talking about you, I will say your fucking name. But you're not that fucking important. Just all this emotional projecting shit. Like, I used to be that kind of person. I used to be super reactive, but at a certain point I had to man the fuck up and realize, okay, bro, being emotional is not gonna solve none of these fucking problems. If anything, they're just gonna escalate them. Or if you triggered about some shit, the solution is not to avoid the trigger, it's to fucking handle the trigger so it don't trigger you. Bro, I can't live my life ducking and dodging, hoping that everybody don't do this one thing that pissed me off. If I can't bring myself back in the moment, like, and realize, hey, bro, this shit is not that deep, or this is just my perception of what the fuck is happening. People don't know enough about me to even really say some shit about me. Like, even if somebody says, oh, Elvis broke, it's like, shoot, I don't give a fuck if I am broke. You don't know. And what I consider broke is relative. Like, I feel broke than a bitch right now, but I make a lot more than most barbers I know, most people I know. But I'm aspiring for things that are even further past the things that the people around me have or even thinking about. So I'm always gonna feel broke because I'm always aspiring for something. But somebody can't activate that insecurity of being broke without my fucking permission. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that nobody likes straight masculine energy. Nobody likes that shit. It's repelling to everybody. Like raw, straight, undiluted masculine energy is aggressive, is disagreeable. You know what I mean? It's not a pleasant thing to be around. Nobody's purely masculine or feminine, but to be provided resources by a masculine source is a blessing. But there's a thin line between provider and predator. Like a real Neanderthal, Giga Chad type nigga. Let's say uber too masculine picture that people have. That's not somebody a girl want to cuddle up with. That's not somebody that makes a girl feel comfortable to be herself around. You know what I mean? And masculinity is not a thing that another man can really teach you in its entirety. It's a spiritual thing. It flows from God to us. A divine masculine presence who knows how to be stern with his son and gentle with his daughter. And of course, you know, there's other times where you got to be gentle with your son and stern with your daughter, but having the discernment and the knowledge and the nuance to be able to interact with all these different beings and be the divine masculine presence that so-and-so needs. Because little homie over here might need somebody to put a foot in his ass to make sure he's straight. But say somebody over here might just need a shoulder to cry on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be a masculine man and have the range of interacting with both these parties. But as men, a lot of us get too caught up in what another man said is the definition of masculinity. Don't hold yourself to like a man or a human standard of anything. Our expectations are our limitations, bro. I'm pretty sure I was not around for it. But at some point, for decades and decades, like, people could not break a 4-minute mile because there was a human expectation, which is the limitation of, oh, people can only run this fast. And then as soon as somebody did it, people realized you can go further, and then people keep breaking the record. Dudes back then was jogging, so Usain Bolt could sprint. You feel me? When we hold ourselves to man's expectation of our possibilities, we are so much more limited because inherently we're limited because we're human vessels, we're imperfect. But creativity is the derivative of God's power. To have the imagination to dream beyond what is in front of you, that is a gift from God. And to use that for the benefit of everybody around you is God's will. And that includes, like, let's say dealing with women, bro. If you can only deal with women when you're trying to crack some, you don't really care about women. You care about the benefit that you get from them. And that's fine. A lot of women are out there like that too. But you're only going to attract somebody who wants to use you. If you can't appreciate what other people bring, you can't expect anybody to appreciate you for the other things that you bring. If the main reason you went and spit your game was because that thing poking, don't be mad when the only reason she gave you play was because that wallet poking. If you're in a place where you can think about and appreciate qualities in a more multi-dimensional way, that opens up the avenue for people to appreciate you in all the ways that are not the most apparent. But this video game kind of long now. Like, I'm all for, you know, females having power or whatever. But understand, if you a male bitching about what a woman's doing, you're not a man to me. Women only lead where you allow, bro. The only reason that she could take charge is because you decided not to fucking take charge. And we're not supposed to be perfect. You know, we all have infinite room to grow. But if you're okay with having that gap in ability, someone else is gonna fill in that gap, always. If you're not striving to grow your capacity to provide more for the people around you, I'm talking about more resources, more vision, more divine masculine presence. If that's legitimately how you feel, I can understand. There was a point where I wasn't pressed about growing my sovereignty, growing my self-leadership, you know what I'm saying? But no shade. I don't want to be around niggas like you. Y'all are the most dangerous people to have in the crew. If you can't defend your own boundary and understand the things that you care about and the stand that you set on, I don't expect you to look out for anybody on the team or stand by any of the things that we stand on. But everything and everybody is not for everyone, you feel me? But I appreciate y'all watching. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, subscribe. We just hit 1K subscribers. I don't know if you can tell, but I am on the moon with excitement. I do appreciate it, but I knew a long time ago if I put my satisfaction in something outside of myself, external validation, I was never gonna be happy. I already went through a bunch of areas of, like, let's say, blowing up and having what I thought was success within multiple crafts and avenues, you know what I mean? And I realized that there was always something more, but you can only find peace in the process. Appreciate y'all again. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. If you don't got no offspring, but she call you daddy, happy Daddy's Day, bro. But till next time, Craft of a Clout, I'm out.